I went surfing yesterday and made a video about it at the beach, and I reflected on another writing platform that it took about 5 years for me to start having the idea to surf to actually surfing with my own board, going out to the beach by myself, right? And I was thinking a lot about what took so long. And this kind of a thing also happened in jiu-jitsu. I started training jiu-jitsu in 2019. And then at that time what I was thinking was, wow, wish I would have started like when I wanted to start jiu-jitsu, which was like almost like 8 years before that, right? So what took so long? And in my original exploration, it was like a fear, right? Like the idea of like, oh, I want to do that is only filled with the good things that comes as a part of what you do, right? But when you actually do it, there's a learning curve. There might be not so pleasant things and so on. So there's like fear, right? So that was my kind of thought process at the time. Something else though, then that's the topic of this video, is surfing has etiquette, right? And so I am still sort of worried about pissing off other people at the beach when it's crowded, when there's like a good surf, right? Obviously, I want to go to the beach when there's good surf. Again, obviously, so will other people. So when it's like this, I will inevitably have to surf with other people. But what am I afraid of? I don't know the etiquette. And more importantly, even if I know the etiquette, right? I don't know how to read the wave that well. So like, who has the right of way? I have no fucking clue. So what I envision for myself, because I used to be and still kind of am a very anxious person. So I project things into the future. So what I am imagining is like, when there's a bunch of people, I just can't write because I'm always afraid of pissing someone off. Okay, so that part is interesting to me, right? The fear of pissing other people off is really a big deterrent in people starting new hobbies or a kind of new passion, so to speak, right? And I think that also has to do a lot with the culture that people these days call gatekeeping. And so whenever a hobby or like an interest has a high gatekeeping bar, it's really difficult to get into that hobby because you have purists who are like, oh, that's not really XYZ, like you should be doing blah blah blah, and if you're not doing blah blah blah, then you shouldn't call yourself blah blah blah. Okay, so those are kind of like at the extreme, but as social creatures, we are always, to some degree, to varying degrees, conscious of how other people think about us. And so, it's important for us to recognize that we can be okay with other people being pissed off at us. And so I want to elaborate on that a little bit. Okay, so I'm a newbie and I have no idea what I'm doing. But hey, I'm trying my best to learn what the etiquette is and I'm gonna try to put it in practice. But how will I know? I will know by trying it out, right? And that means I either don't do anything because I'm so afraid of making a mistake, or I mess up. So, for example, somebody else had the right of way and a wave, and then I interjected in front of them, and then I fucked up their surf or whatever. Okay, now if I'm only thinking about myself, I didn't do anything wrong, right? Like, because why? I tried because I didn't know any better. And just like how I can have my point of view, so can the other person, right? And so, from that person's point of view, especially if they are a seasoned surfer who happens to be surfing very regularly at that surf spot, they're kind of a regular and people know them or whatever. And now, from that person's perspective, it is possible for them to think, what the fuck? How dare they, right? Especially if they don't know that I am a newbie. Especially if they are not really the type of person who tends to be forgiving. Because, yeah, it's nice for me to be forgiving, but there's no way I can force that on other people, right? Okay, so that's two kind of extremes at play here. Number one, me thinking I don't really know anything, so I guess like I gotta try to learn. From this guy's perspective, come on, how can you not know that? It was clear as day. Like I had the right of way there. You fucked up. Okay. So what I have to understand is, oh, I take this as a learning opportunity, which was my original intention anyway, right? And let that guy be pissed with me. Because why? They have all the reason to. But I just have to be responsible for myself. And where it gets a little sticky, maybe for you, is if you have people pleasing tendencies and you want to fawn and you want to make sure that they understand that it wasn't your intention. Yeah, you can communicate that, right? But no matter how much you communicate it wasn't your intention, it's up to them to kind of forgive you, right? So as long as you have made your point clear, it's sort of their problem to deal with. And what makes this a little bit more nuanced is they might usually be a forgiving person, but at the same time, they might be having a bad day. Or they might be a very hot-headed person, but maybe that day surface really great and they're not that mad. So there's all these factors that make things so complicated when you try to account for every possibility, right? And that's what tends to lead you to the direction of inaction. There's too many things to talk about. I think about. I'm just not gonna do it. So as long as you are clear on your perspective, I'm a newbie. I'm here to learn, and unfortunately, I am going to learn by making mistakes. As long as you are clear on that and you go into the water intending to make mistakes, I think other people will have opinions about that, but that's their problem to deal with. You focus on your development. And of course, if you do, and I'm saying you have to understand, sometimes you will make big mistakes. And it's important to own up to that, but at the same time, not feel too bad about that because making mistakes is what you intended to do. So, this happens, this isn't just for surfing, right? In jiu-jitsu, we don't have this culture at our school, but other academies, it's considered rude for lower belts to ask higher belts for a role. Now, our academy doesn't have that kind of a culture, but suppose I didn't know, which I didn't, right? So I had a black belt friend at my school, and then I asked, hey, can I roll with you? And so a visiting person came by and then said, hey, what you did there, that wasn't really cool. And I was like, whoa, shit, did I fuck up? This was before coaching. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh shit, now I feel really bad. And then, guess what? Like, that person was angry, but none of the black belts at our academy were really upset. They said, oh yeah, other academies do that, but it's fine, you can roll with me. And I'm like, oh, wait, okay. So now I'm cognizant of it, right? But I remember that like sinking feeling of like, holy crap, I made a mistake, I fucked up. And what's important is, now that you have this video, if you're about to start something and that involves, if you're about to start a new hobby that involves other people and there's like manners and rules and etiquettes, go in with the total commitment to be completely new. Tell people, hey, I'm new, I will make mistakes, and I would love it if you could correct my form, or anything like that. Could be rock climbing, can be playing in a band, or whatever it is. Go in, dare to suck. Be a newbie. And that's how we can lower the bar of gatekeeping, at the same time develop our skills in what we want to do.